I'm Mitch Landrieu. I'm running for mayor of New Orleans.
Mr. Landrieu, how are you today?
Oh, fine. How are you doing?
I can't complain. On behalf of NewOrleansBlack.com, folks out there on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, we thank you for taking time out.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. The purpose of this is to have a conversation. We want to make sure that people really get a chance to know who each of the candidates are, and in this case specifically to you. We know you kind of from afar. Some people know you up close. But take us back. Go back to the childhood. Tell us who Mitch Landrieu really is.
I'm a neighborhood kid. I grew up right down the street in a neighborhood called Broadmoor. I have 8 brothers and sisters. Between us now we have 37 kids. I grew up on the streets of New Orleans, playing on art playgrounds. Found my way to law school where I graduated, went to the legislature. I've served 16 years there, kind of leading most of the reform efforts that the state has seen in the last couple of years. And for the past 5 years I've been running one of the biggest state agencies, overseeing 2 of the largest business entities in the state as a lieutenant governor, and I feel really good about it. I want to bring my skills back to New Orleans, though, which is where I feel like I can be the greatest good to the greatest number of people.
Talk to us. What high school did you go to?
I went to Jesuit High School.
Okay.
And then I went on to Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C., where I played on the tennis team, and I had a double major in political science and theater.
Okay.
Came back, went to law school, clerked for the Supreme Court, and clerked for a federal district court, started practicing law, which I did for about 16 years. I owned my own mediation company. So I actually ran 2 businesses, and I was in the legislature at the same time, and my wife Cheryl and I have 5 children.
All right, so with any of this, are you taking advantage with that theater background?
Absolutely.
Any of this movie industry?
That's important.
Are you really?
No,
Are you getting any of that? Because
no.
I'm sure people are approaching.
No, but I'll tell you what, it's one of the reasons why when I became the lieutenant governor,
Mm-hmm.
I began to concentrate on the economic development side of theater, of music, and of film, because I understood it really well. My contemporaries in New Orleans, Wynton Marsalis, Patty Clarkson,
Oh, sure.
right, Harry Connick, all of us grew up together, and they had to go away, to do their work. And I wanted to bring the ability for them to stay here back home, which is why one of the reasons why I've been championing the film industry. We went from doing a $30 million book of business to an $800 million book of business last year. We did 80 major motion pictures and created somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 jobs. Created something out of nothing that we never had before.
Now, I know you started something, I believe it's called the Cultural...
It's called the Cultural Economy Initiative. And
Okay.
what this is specifically designed to do is to create jobs out of culture.
Okay.
This was something that's been here for a long time, but people took it for granted. We said we're going to stop doing that. We're going to treat culture just like we treat oil and gas,
Absolutely.
biomedical technology research and
It's an export.
How did you do that?
Right.
Well, tax incentives, redoing the VOTEC schools and the curriculum, really reaching out to people, creating what they call cultural products districts where people can sell original works of art for nothing. There are 144,000 jobs in this state that are attached to art, music, historic preservation.
Right.
It's something that New Orleans has that nobody else in the world has. And my idea, which we call the Cultural Economy Initiative, is to build jobs based on the back of the house side of culture, which is where the money is.
Right. Now,
Again, creating something out of nothing that didn't exist before.
and frankly, that's incredible and it's needed. Let's talk about kind of economic development, because one of the key things that our audience specifically polled, of our audience, 60,000 people in our email database, about 85% are African American, just so you know who I'm talking about. One of the things that they're polled on is inclusion and fairness in this whole economy. And that's a concern that we have as we look at who this next mayor might be. Talk to us about what you're going to do to make sure there's fairness and inclusion to the business community and individuals looking for good work.
Well, I have 5 economic development principles that are really critically important, and I won't talk about all of them. I'll talk about the first one. And it is diversity as a strength, not a weakness. For people who are not physically in New Orleans, we're in the deepest of the deep south. And so we have to speak loudly and clearly that if we're going to compete in a 21st century global economy that's based on knowledge, we have to hire the best and the brightest.
Right.
We can't exclude people because of race, creed, color, religion, geography. Most of the people that are moving into the United States or moving in the United States are moving to the south. So when that happens, you have to be willing to put the best team on the field that you possibly can. The only way that you can do that is to hire people based on merit. In my office, for example, as Lieutenant Governor, my Chief of Staff is African American, my General Counsel is African American, the Secretary of my department is African American. All 3 of them, they got hired because they were the best. Right? Now in the state of Louisiana, on a statewide level, you don't see that anywhere else in America. So the idea that diversity is a strength, not a weakness, is the thing that drives pretty much everything that we do.
Talk to us, and we do appreciate that. Talk to us a little bit about your style of leadership. How does that transfer from being lieutenant governor to coming and being the mayor of the city of New Orleans? What can we expect?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, I would say this, that right now, at this time, at this place, in this city's history. This city needs somebody that has relevant experience. I'm really the only one that's ever run a large public organization. I run 5 of the largest divisions in the state. I oversee 2 of the largest industries that represents 12% of the state's, GDP.
Okay.
I have 800 employees and a $160 million budget. In order to run my office, you have to work with the president, you got to work with Congress, you got to work with the legislature, you have to work with the city council. Those skills are the skills that are necessary to run the city. And one of the reasons why I'm running is because I think I am the one that has the most relevant skill set to the things the city needs right now, which is to get this rebuilding effort really off of ground zero and moving in the right direction, because we have a huge opportunity available to us. If we don't take care of it right now, it's going to slip right out of my hands.
Let's take that a little further, because my audience wants to know, why are you running? I mean, here you're the Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana. Your next move easily could be governor.
That's
Why
right.
are you mayor? Why are you running for mayor?
Because this is a more important job for the state of Louisiana and for America. That the city of New Orleans right now has the possibility of actually leading the recovery of the United States of America by showing people how to go from zero to hero, to go from nothing to something significant. There is no other place in America that's having to rebuild every fabric of their life. Healthcare, education, transportation, crime. Other people in other states are struggling with the economy, and Detroit, for example, is having a struggle with manufacturing. Detroit, New Jersey, are doing nothing. We're doing it all at one time.
Right,
What I'm telling you is
right.
the President of the United States needs a partner that knows what he's doing, that he can count on, because if we don't give him that, he's not going to be able to help us. And so basically what I've heard from Washington in my travels to the White House and other places is, hey man, we're going to help you, but the best way for you to get us to help you is for you to help yourself. And we need somebody who knows what they're doing. No on-the-job training, go get it done. Spend the money that you have, show us that you got some significant promise, and we're going to come in and help you.
Talk to us real briefly about your relationship with the President of the United States or people at the D.C. level.
Right. Well, I know him, and I have a great relationship with most of his staff members. And I've been in the White House many times because as the senior statewide Democratic elected official, I've become the point person on many of the recovery issues that have been going on for the last year. So whether it's Melody Barnes or Peter Rouse or any one of the secretaries of the major departments, Janet Napolitano, or all of the folks that are actually in charge of the recovery, I have actually been working with them and trying to make the recovery happen from the Lieutenant Governor's office. But here's the problem. The recovery is going to happen from the mayor's office. The president is not going to appoint another federal recovery.
No more
That's
czars.
a direct, no more of those. The governor has already said to people clearly, I want to get out the business, I want to push it down to the local level. So the most important person for the future of the city of New Orleans in terms of the recovery is the mayor. And if someone's sitting there that's just adequate, or is on the job training, or is a nice guy but just ain't ready, you know what? The game's not going to get won. And that's why I decided at the end of the day to turn around and say, you know what, where can you go where you can do the greatest good for the greatest amount of people? And what are you going to feel like when you look your kids in the eyes and they say, Daddy, what did you do? I wanted to be able to say, you know what, I did everything I could make happen.
All right, we've got just 1 minute to go, so I'm going to ask a real quick question from Facebook. Bianca Sterling asked, how will you reestablish the number of schools missing in the city?
Very important. For the last year, as I just said, I've been working with Washington, D.C., and there's one important thing going on in education that's immediate, and that is to convince FEMA to reimburse us for all of the money they owe us to rebuild every school. We think we're very close to getting them to announce that they're going to give us $2 billion to rebuild
With a
capital.
B.
$2 billion
Yeah, that's
with
good.
a B. If we get that money, and I think we're going to be able to, based on a lot of work that I've done and Senator Landrieu and Paul Vallis and a lot of other people, we will be able to put every child in New Orleans in a first-class building with great technology so that they have the opportunity to be as good as we know they can be.
Wonderful. Any campaign promises or anything you want to close out with? You can.
No,
do that now.
I would say this, that this is, the future of New Orleans is not certain. We have to elect somebody that knows what they're doing. And my pitch is really simple. I'm the guy that knows what to do, I know how to do it, and I can get it done. This race is about actually making it happen. Talk is good, but you got to walk the walk, and I'm ready to do it.
We appreciate your time.
Good. Thank you.
you.
It's great to see you.
All right.
I appreciate it.